Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from Amala. Sorry, I couldn't say her last name, so I didn't want to butcher it, so.
Fellas, have you ever thought about approaching a girl that you think is cute? Maybe at a grocery store, you start off by asking her about a recommendation or starting off some fun little banter in hopes of...
Remember the video I did about women talking about Whole Foods? Where are all the good men at Whole Foods? You should all go to Whole Foods because there's good hot men at Whole Foods. Yeah, don't ever listen to women.
Of building good rapport and getting her number? Well, don't, apparently, because the worst thing she could do is actually not just saying no. The worst thing she could do is to go in her car, film a TikTok afterward, and call you a freak for even starting the interaction.
We know, Amala. We know.
Guys, let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better.
It's just so funny that women make videos and it's like, oh, you know, men go to Whole Foods, go to Home Depot, go to these places. Well, this is where all the hot men at. And then men, I don't know if men actually took this advice or not, and then start hitting on women in Whole Foods, and then we get this video.
Yeah, you better.
Before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe, because today we're going to be reacting to a viral video of a girl, which I don't even know who this girl is. It just started circulating on my page. She's in her car and she's complaining about a guy who approached her at Whole Foods. Now, you're thinking this would probably be a pretty negative interaction. If it's worth making a TikTok story time over, this guy must have done something really wrong. Well, we're about to find out. Let's watch the video.
Oh my God. These men are crazy. They're relentless. They're ruthless. I'm in Whole Foods, right? And I'm shopping in the cosmetic section because I like to decompress.
I didn't even know Whole Foods has cosmetics.
Okay. And while I'm in there, this guy comes and stands next to me and he's like, he's holding shampoo and conditioner and he's looking at what I'm looking at. And then he's like, do you have a moisturizer recommendation? Like, I was told I need a moisturizer, which already I'm like, a woman told you need a moisturizer, because your homeboys are definitely not saying, hey buddy, you're looking a little crusty, you might need a moisturizer. So I'm like, okay, red flag, whatever.
Okay, so a woman told him. Why does it matter if it's a woman or a man? Or why are you mad that it's a woman that told him and not men, because men don't tell each other these things?
And I'm like, I don't know. You don't want to ask me. Meanwhile, I'm like looking at all the mad hippie shit, right? And so he's standing there. He's like, I like your tattoos. That's really why I came over to talk to you. I saw you over there. And I was like, oh, so you're following me. And he was like, whoa, I'm not following you. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So then he was like, you really don't have a moisturizer recommendation? So I show him the mad hippie and I go, this is literally the moisturizer that I use every single day. This is my favorite. And he picks it up. He's like, all right, I'll take a recommendation. And then he walks away. I just had a feeling, did a circle around the block. The moisturizer that he had taken, he had circled back when I went around the corner and put it back. Okay, you little freak.
What? Okay, guys, let's break down this interview.
So he tried to attempt to get to know you, get a little better, and then like figure out a way to like put himself in front of you and ask and talk to you. It's what men do. Right? Like, you're mad at him for trying to set up a moment to be able to chat with you. Yes, it might not have been a real moment because he might not need the moisturizer, but it wasn't anything diabolical.
Interaction. Let's do it for a second. Okay, so she starts off by saying men are crazy and ruthless. Okay, crazy and ruthless. These are some pretty big words to be throwing out there. This guy approaches you at Whole Foods and he says, hey, do you have a moisturizer to recommend? As you're standing there looking at moisturizers. And, you know, he even says, he straight up tells you, the real reason I walked up to you is not for the moisturizer. It's because I like your tattoos. I thought you were attractive. That's the real reason I'm speaking to you. So there's no smoke and mirrors here. He straight up tells you that.
But because you tell him, you reject him, so he's just like, okay, then maybe I should just talk about the moisturizer.
And then you say, oh, so you were following me? You know how crazy that is? If I'm a guy trying to approach you because I see like, oh, I think you're cute, she seems nice, let me go approach her, and then I get accused of following her, whoa, am I gonna back up? So he backs up and goes like, okay, can I at least have the fake moisturizer recommendation that I came to you for? Then you recommend the moisturizer. And then Einstein here goes, I just had a feeling he didn't really want the moisturizer, which he told you. And then you circle back and the moisturizer is left there. And he's the freak. He's the freak. How often have you guys, even as girls, wanted to maybe approach somebody or wanted them to approach you, and you don't just want to come in hot and be like,
hey, I think you're really attractive. Can I get your number?
So you come up with some other way to do it. I mean, it's been the I guess
it's called an icebreaker
conundrum of generations. The fig dropping of the pencil or the handkerchief. The random question you ask somebody is to getting your foot in the door and to sort of feel what their vibe is, to see if they're open.
Sometimes I just ask questions, even though I know damn well the answer
to a conversation like that. And I guess that's what this guy tried. He said, "Hey, could you recommend a moisturizer?" And immediately she's like, "You're following me." So I think he figured out, maybe I don't jump from the moisturizer to asking her for her number. I go back to the moisturizer, pretend to take
disco lady
the recommendation to get out of the situation. And he's actually kind enough. You know how customers will pick something up and they realize they don't want it, so they just like stash it at some other place of the store. Yeah. He actually took the time to walk back, put the moisturizer back where he found it, and go about his day after a girl accused him of following her. Now, he's the freak. He's the crazy one. She says guys are ruthless. What is ruthless about what that man did? And again, I need to throw this out here.
Remember, Amala, I just think it's just man-hating. Just anything men do that you want to just put it in like the most degenerate light possible, the most predatory light possible, because we're just so evil.
Okay, there are going to be girls who I guess agree with this because this TikTok did blow up, and there's going to be ones who don't. For the people who agree with her reaction to this, what was he supposed to do? Like, what is a nicer, less alarming way to approach a woman in public? Because people are trying to figure this out. We have this article out of the New York Times that reads, "Men, where have you gone? Please come back. So many men have retreated from intimacy, hiding behind firewalls, filters, and curated personas, dabbling and scrolling. We miss you." So somebody's saying, "We miss you, men." I saw a Reddit post that went,
"Who's missing us?"
Like kind of banger of this girl saying, "I'm out here, I'm 25, I'm female, I'm trying to meet men, but I'm never getting approached. Is there a certain look or energy that I can give off that says I want to be approached? I'm not really into dating apps and I want to meet somebody in person." And she's asking how to do this. And now a man responds, "Unless a woman gives me an irrefutable sign that she wants my attention, I will never in a million years approach her, because nowadays we are taught that women want to be left alone and we are perceived as a nuisance at best and a threat at worst." True. And this does seem to be an ever-present trend that I'm witnessing online of young girls like the one we just witnessed getting in their cars or filming a video, a story time about meeting a man.
Just like blasting the man for attempting to do normal things that people did in the 80s and the 90s, just trying to break ice, trying to have conversation. Now we just get plastered on the internet as creeps.
And where they say he is a nuisance or he disrespected her or that she's just so annoyed by the presence of men. And they get into the story and it sounds a whole lot like anybody would approach anyone in trying to just start a friendly conversation, let alone a romantic conversation. And this seems to be a plague amongst men in our dating hellscape these days. Here is another headline about some stats here. Almost half of young men have never approached a woman romantically. And this is particularly affecting men aged 18 to 25. And they're saying 50%, nearly 50% of them have never, ever, not once, approached a woman with a...
It makes sense because these people grew up, these young kids grew up in the digital age. They grew up with the social media. They grew up with the Me Too and all of these things. So they are very staunchly aware of consequences.
Sort of romantic energy in mind, even to ask them for a moisturizer recommendation in hopes of then going on to get their number. 50% of young men have not done that. And we've reacted to videos like this before. I'm going to pull up this one because this is just a...
I wanted to do this video because it was Whole Foods and women. I've covered like 2-3 videos now of women talking about Whole Foods. Oh, Whole Foods, Home Depot. Now men are actually attempting to approach you in Whole Foods like you asked and wanted. And then you blow us up like this.
Super dramatic example of a young woman who was complimented at the gym. And she freaks out on him and tries to force him to apologize. And it doesn't go like she thinks it's going to go.
Gym and Whole Foods in one video?
Let's watch.
So an Ottawa police officer just sexually harassed me at the gym. As one does, of course. He was doing chest flies. I was standing in front of him, and I was respecting him in his space and wanted him to be able to see his form. So I kept moving out of the way so that he could see himself in the mirror. And after I did this twice, he stops me and he's like, yeah, it's okay. I may just be a dirty old man. Here it comes. But I almost don't mind if you're standing in front of me while I do this. And I did what we all do as women when we get comments like that. I just went, ha ha, turned around and I was like, I hate men. And then I was really pissed and went to turn around to tell him, like, this is not okay. And here is why. And he was gone. I got...
Okay, so you got a compliment from a man. You didn't quite appreciate the compliment, maybe because he said dirty old man. Now, I wouldn't necessarily lead with that if I was hoping to, you know, gain anything like a number or a date or something like that.
I don't think he was. I think he was just making a joke.
But he quite literally was not sexually harassing you, because if he was, he probably would have stayed there and harassed you. He gave you the compliment, and then you want to complain about the sexual harassment. And, oh, the harasser is gone. He's not a very good sexual harasser, I guess, if he decided to leave you after giving you the compliment.
A Good Life associate told her, and she wanted to see where it happened so that she could find it on camera, because I was like, I don't want to come back here with this dude. Like, I'm uncomfortable as shit right now. He was there. I was like, oh.
Uncomfortable as shit with all this tattoo, barely, like, cleavage hanging out, you know, like.
This is him. Confronted him. And then when I told him that was not okay, you made me feel uncomfortable, he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, like, this is not cool. It's not okay. Then he tells me, I actually rescind my apology.
Okay. And that's the most like baller G reaction you could possibly have to that. We don't need to watch the rest of the video, but the guy literally rescinds his apology, like, you know, and what? Says, you're nuts.
No, it's not okay. I'm autistic. This is my safe space. I come here to lift, and you're disgusting. As I'm moving out of the way so you can see yourself in the mirror, you.
Wow.
Wow, what?
I rescind my apology. You're nuts.
Actually, you're nuts. I regret ever saying anything to you ever. I rescind my apology, which is what should happen in these situations. I don't know the answer to this. You know, we found the problem.
We know the answer to this, Amala. We just stop talking to women and stop dealing with women, which is kind of happening on a pretty mass scale.
Here. The problem is that it is really difficult to approach in our modern society anyways. Everybody's online. Social cues are not being, you know, witnessed or recognized. And even with them being recognized, it's really difficult to just put yourself out there. Then you run the risk of somebody making a TikTok story time about you later, calling you a freak and saying you're ruthless or saying that you sexually harassed her. So there's a lot of issues circulating, but we do know that there are women out there who want to be approached, and there are men out there who want to do the.
And it sucks, Amala. Even though there is, it's too late. Too many of these women have ruined it for most women, and men are tired.
Approaching. So how do we get these two to meet? Is there an irrefutable sign that you can give out as a woman that you want to be approached? Because a smile and a sort of nice gesture or a nice look doesn't seem to be doing it anymore. And is there, as a man, a way that you can approach a woman that is irrefutable so as to not get you accused of being a freak sexual harasser? Guys, I don't know. I'm actually going to have to rely on you guys in the comments down below to let me know.
Like I said, Amala, for us men, we figured it out. We just leave you guys alone and never pay attention to you anymore or help you in any way.
What you can and cannot do. Have you been successful in approaching women? Have you been unsuccessful in approaching women? Have you, God forbid, ever had a TikTok story time made about you after you have approached somebody? I'm not sure what there is to be done in a world where oppression is social currency, where TikTok story times are social currency, where young women constantly love to speak about how much they hate men and constantly like to play up these interactions with men. And I will say, there are plenty of actual harmful harassment-based interactions that women have with men on any given day.
True. I'm not going to say there isn't, Amala.
But when you are a woman who cries wolf on social media,
yes,
or plays up what are pretty benign social interactions online, you make it harder for real victims to come forward and share their story with men. Because as far as I'm concerned...
Because now when even real victims do share their stories, us men are just like, right.
with the two stories we've seen in today's video, those were just normal men who were approaching or maybe throwing out a comment that for sure, I guess, didn't land with these women, but they didn't do
Sometimes it doesn't land. I mean, it happens.
anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with shooting your shot. So for them to turn around and pull out their phone camera and make a video like this, trying to play it up as if there's something wrong with it, it's only going to degrade our social fabric in this society. It's only going to degrade dating and make it into more of a hellscape than it already is.
Correct.
It's very difficult to figure out what type of woman you're approaching and if they're going to be the type to make a video like this. I'd like to think that by and
That's why men just don't do it anymore, or by and large, don't do it anymore.
large, most women are not like this. But
We don't know. And I want to say almost, I wouldn't say most women, but I think maybe 40 to 30%, 35%, which is a huge swath of the population. It's still a 6-4. I'm probably going to hit the 4 majority of the time, tell you the truth.
goodness, would it be rough to run into somebody who is? So we've identified an issue in today's video. I don't have a solution. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe we can figure that out in the comments down below. Let me know. But oh my goodness, is it sickening to have somebody very neutrally try to approach for a fake moisturizer recommendation, which we've almost all done in some sort of way, where you try to get your foot in the door with something that may or may not be real, but is harmless in order to just catch somebody's vibe and hopefully put yourself in the position to shoot your shot and then to have it end up like this. Womp womp. Guys, let me know in the comments down below.
Approaches at Whole Foods. All the good men are at Whole Foods, Home Depot. This is why I did this video, because those other videos about Whole Foods, the gentleman was like he did it, to me, pretty proper. He approached, asked a question, gave her a compliment about her tattoo. She called him a freaking stalker pretty much. He backed off and ran away pretty much and just put the stuff back because he didn't know else how to end that interaction properly, right? Poor guy. Now he's blasted on the internet. Whole Foods. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time.